It's like when you tell yourself, when you switch from automatic breathing to manual breathing. Like I hate it. Because then you're like, I'm breathing now.
Yeah.
Like, I have to breathe.
And you have to sit there and think about it because you're like, I'll die if I don't think about it now. That's how my brain works.
Right. So I had some shower thoughts, and it brought to mind an existential crisis. We're just starting over. Make it easy. Make it easy for you.
I just love that we're like, I'm going to burn this whole place down. I hate it.
All right, and one take. This is all one take.
This is episode 33 of this podcast, and we are just like we started all over again.
Maybe that's why people still listen to us.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these guys
don't change.
Yeah, that brand spanking new every time. Who knew?
It's an adventure for everyone, including us. So the multiverse theory, right?
Oh yeah.
Basically, there's multiple universes with multiple outcomes. Different significant things in time are always, one choice or the other, and like another multiverse spawns out of the second choice or whatever. So if the multiverse theory is true, then there's a universe where it isn't.
If the multiverse theory is true, then there's a universe where it isn't?
Yeah, where it's not true.
How does that play out?
I don't know, because it kind of goes into like the multiverse theory.
Are you saying just because there's infinite possibilities,
right,
there has to be one of those infinite possibilities
that isn't? But then it was like somebody brought up the fact that multiverse theory doesn't cover paradoxical situations, but then they're like in the exception where it does. And I was like, I
feel like so much of this is above my pay grade.
But it's like, well, then what if ours is the multiverse that it doesn't exist?
That'd be crazy too. We're like literally the only ones that are like limited to being just in this one plane of existence, technically speaking.
No advancements, nothing.
But it begs the question though. This kind of goes back to that thing that we talked about a couple of episodes ago, where you remember how I told you like we have those gaps in our memory and stuff like that, and like I have that weird theory that I don't think is true, but it's that's where you should have died at some point in time, and God like reset your timeline, so you got to keep on going.
Right.
I think about that theory a lot of times in the multiverse deal, because the idea, like you said, of the multiverse is like if you watch Loki.
Never seen it.
So in the show Loki, that one's like, even if you're not into that universe, it's worth a watch because
I do like Loki and Tom Hiddleston's character,
his whole
and everything.
deal.
Yeah.
But that TV show, that's what they deal with. He basically gets captured by the TVA, which are they're in control of the timeline. Is kind of the whole idea behind it. And in that timeline, that they talk about that, like where you see like a main timeline that's going, and then every time somebody makes a decision that would branch off the timeline in a different way to create another separate timeline in that sense. The TVA's job is to stop those things from happening, so that the timeline that has been designated as the proper timeline continues to play out.
Right.
And so you kind of think about it from that perspective of like the multiverse theory is that like, you have multiple parallel universes that are running side by side with each other in essence. But they're all different ones because we made decisions and things branched off, right?
Yeah, like world-changing decisions or world-altering decisions.
And so it isn't necessarily like the idea, like so many people get hung up on the idea of the multiverse because of the way that Marvel and stuff has presented it, that the multiverse is if you go from one multiverse, whatever you call it, one universe into the next universe, like paralleled to it, that everything's completely out of whack and stuff.
Right.
Like that you go to one and like everybody's made out, like everybody's cartoons. You go to another one, everybody's made out of Jell-O. It's like it's like just weird stuff like that. And it's like, well, probably not, right? Like the way that we look at it is that if it's just branching timelines, then maybe you have one universe that's more technologically advanced.
Right.
Maybe you have one that's less. Because it's just humans like making decisions and branching off in that sense. And so it is fascinating to kind of think through that idea of we're in a multiverse, and like you said, what if we're the only ones that are not aware of it?
Yeah.
That would suck.
Or that has like no ability to tap into the other universes because
right.
We are that we're the one end of the bell curve.
Yeah.
Everybody's like living in this like, oh, they have slight multiversal
or it's just like way back in the day, like we branched off so early, and then there was never anything that made us branch again.
We had no other significant
so
events.
We're just like off by ourselves while the rest of them are up there just flowering out into this whole like, multiverse, and we're just way off in the distance.
Because I think that also plays into like why I don't watch a lot of Marvel stuff is because I've realized, and just while we were talking, a lot of the Marvel that I consume is more of the parody Marvel, I would say. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, the non-serious Deadpool.
Guardians are great.
Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool are the two franchises that I've seen all the movies. Yeah. And the third Deadpool Wolverine, deals with the multiverse because he has to go in and try to find Logan and all that kind of stuff.
Because it's become so popular, they kind of had to deal with it too.
And and that was how Marvel tied everything back into Marvel as a property.
Okay.
Because it brought in the Fantastic Four, which was a Fox property, Deadpool, which was a Fox property.
Right.
So it brought all of everything back under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So Blade, which everybody forgets that Blade was a Marvel character.
Yeah, wasn't Spawn Marvel as well?
Yes, I do believe so.
He's another great one. Like that movie was actually better than it gets remembered for in a sense.
Have you watched the Blade trilogy?
Oh yeah.
Did you know at the end of the first one, the entire villain of the second one? Do you know who that was supposed to be?
Nah, it's been a long time since I watched. It was
supposed to be Morbius.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Dr. Morbius.
Interesting.
And that was how it was the full Marvel tie-in.
Yeah.
Was the whole one that Blade was supposed to fight and everything.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. So that's the extent of my Marvel nerddom is Blade, because I love, like, they're so bad. Blade Trinity, like Blade Trinity.
Blade Trinity was terrible. Yeah.
But it gave us.
But the first few Blades, I actually liked those movies. I
love Blade 1 and 2.
The first one I was like a real big fan of.
Yeah.
I watched that movie like on repeat after it came out on DVD.
But I guess by the third one, like,
showing my age a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think that was one of the first DVDs we had was Blade.
Yeah.
I remember we bought our first DVD player, and if you mailed something in, they gave you like 10 free DVDs
for like a penny.
Yeah. Do you remember? Like,
oh yeah.
And I think we got that. We got Stargate.
Our good friends,
I can't remember what else.
Who's like, shout out to their son Landon, who's pitching for the San Francisco Giants now. But the Roops had like that membership deal where it was like every month you picked like a certain number of DVDs. You paid like $1. And so I remember Mike, when I would go over to their house, had this like rack of just like full of DVDs. Yeah. Talking about entertainment wise, right? A few episodes ago, we talked about, I asked that question of if you were going to invent your backstory for witness protection, and what would your backstory be?
And it's really funny. And I brought this up to Josh because I think he's a timing genius. So
I love the credit he's willing to give me on this.
just take the compliment.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm trying to.
So as of this recording, the episode that released the week of this recording. So our episodes come out on Monday. We record on Saturdays.
Yeah, we're recording on Saturday, August the 2nd, right now, which means that on July 28th. The episode that came out is the one he's referring to.
We were talking about that, and then Josh texted me on, I think it was Sunday, hey, why don't we put our stories into AI and have AI write them and everything?
Yeah.
And then I listened to the episode Monday. I was like, he's a genius. Like, that episode just came out. Like, we're doing it like right away. And then I asked him this morning, I was like, did you do that on purpose? And he was like, no,
man. I wish I could claim I was that smart, but
not at all.
No, it was just like I did remember it because I was like editing that podcast, as far as like saying, like, because I listened to us talk about that idea of letting AI do our backstory stuff. But no, it was just strictly happenstance that we're pulling it off now. But we came up with that idea, and we have both put the work in now. And by put the work in, I mean we gave some prompts to AI, and so we have our backstories for you guys to be able to enjoy today. Right. And so as we get ready to start in this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our intro. When we come back from the intro, we will just go right into our backstories, beginning with mine and then going into Josh's afterwards. And these are going to be dramatic tellings of our backstories that AI came up with for us. And so we invite you guys to join us on this fun ride.
That being said, good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Josh.
Recognize me? No? Well, I'm Josh. I got suspended from school because of Josh.
You're going to be there with me in every way imaginable, Josh.
Josh is truly in a trance, yeah.
I went to high school with Josh, and I can tell you right now, he's a terrific kisser.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Josh, these are people's jobs we're talking about, Josh.
Thank you very much.
Josh walking in the door wasn't even close.
Josh, you are a muffin-snuggling pirate puncher.
Josh is a good guy. We can talk to him.
Please welcome Joshua.
Josh!
They say you can outrun your past, but not when it's wearing overalls and smells like deep-fried moonshine. The name's Buford Honeycutt. Folks around here call me Buck. I was born on a snowy October morning in the back room of Maureen's Bait and Tanning Salon, right next to the Nightcrawlers, beneath the busted UV light that gave me my trademark half-glow. Daddy was a part-time preacher, full-time doomsday prepper. Mama ran the local ferret rescue, ham biscuit drive-thru, and spiritual advisory service. Childhood was simple. 3 channels on the TV, 2 teeth in our family, and 1 blue-tick coonhound named Biscuits. I made an honest living rewebbing lawn chairs for elderly Methodists and teaching children the finer points of maze-based survival down at the corn patch. I once spent 3 hours trapped there myself with a youth group and a possum named Gary. They still don't talk about what happened there in that corn maze that day. I married my high school sweetheart, Tootie Wampler. She was the cornhole queen of 1999. But love, like my uncle's moonshine still, was poorly welded and prone to explode. We split after she ran off with a traveling clogging troupe. She left me with memories, a rusty El Camino, and a daughter named Clementine. She's a sweet girl, smarter than both sides of our family tree combined. Now I live quiet, low to the ground. Some say I'm in witness protection. Others say I'm just bad at commitment and really good at disappearing. These days, I pass the time whittling banjos, talking to crows, and warning strangers about the dangers of government cheese. I tell folks I moved here to start a mobile worm farm / prayer ministry. That's only half true. The other half? Well, let's just say I ain't seen nothing and I don't know nobody. Name's Buck. Nice to meet you. Alright, that's it.
That was good.
Gosh. It's hard to read that, like, because it made it humorous, and so I'm like trying to just get through it. But
oh man, that was good, Buck.
Thank you kindly.
So that was a mobile worm farm and prayer ministry.
Prayer ministry, yeah, that's what I'm doing for a living now.
Man, that was good. All
right.
So I took mine in a little bit of a different direction. In a little mountain town in North Carolina, there's a man sanding down a rocking chair. Locals know him as Daniel Whitlock. Polite, quiet, runs a woodworking shop that smells like cedar and old secrets. But 10 years ago, Daniel Whitlock didn't exist. He was Vincent McCroney, Vin, consigliere for the Gallo crime family. The man who kept their empire balanced on blood, fear, numbers so clean, the IRS sent him Christmas cards. Now, he's hiding in the Blue Ridge Mountains, waiting for the past that doesn't forget. Vincent, or Vin, McCroney wasn't born into the mob, but he was born into debt. By 18, he had two choices: a college degree he couldn't afford, or a job with a gallows family as their numbers guy. Turns out Vinny had a gift. He saw money the way people see colors, patterns, flow, how to hide it, how to clean it. He wasn't muscle, he wasn't a trigger man, but the gallows, they trusted him like a priest. The books always bounced, the cash always flowed. And Vin, he told himself he was just a businessman, just keeping the machine running. But every machine runs on fuel. And for the gallows, the fuel was fear and bodies. You do the books long enough, you start counting the dead in between the commas. You don't mean to, but you can't not. It was supposed to be another late night meeting. Vin remembered the hum of the old fridge in the back room, the smell of cigar smoke. And then he heard the plan. A cop's family, a wife, a 7-year-old kid, all of them gone, just to send a message. Vin sat there nodding, like always, but inside, something broke. For weeks, he couldn't sleep. He could see that kid's face everywhere, in the corner of the spreadsheets, in the reflection of the bank statements. That was the thing about laundering money for killers. Eventually, the numbers bled. And then, one night, he made his choice. He copied everything: wire transfers, offshore accounts, shell companies. Months of evidence burned into a flash drive the size of his thumb. One would say a thumb drive. The next morning, Vincent McCroney walked into the FBI office like a man ordering his own funeral. You want the gallows? You're going to need a bigger prison. The trial was chaos. Half of the gallows went away for life, but Vin, he knew what that meant. The other half would never stop hunting Vin. So the feds did what they do. A new name, a new story, a new life. Vincent McCroney died in a paperwork fire, and Daniel Whitlock was born. His alibi? Simple. A burned-out contractor from Delaware, loved working with his hands, tired of the city. He bought a little shop in the Blue Ridge Mountains. In Burnsville, North Carolina, he was just the quiet guy with calloused hands who built good rocking chairs and asked for nothing. Burnsville is the kind of place where secrets don't last long, but Daniel's secret, it was buried under layers of pine and polite small talk. He built a life out of sawdust and silence, learned to carve wood instead of laundering money, learned to smile at neighbors without looking over his shoulder. But you don't live in witness protection without hearing the clock tick. 6 months ago, the clock got loud. A stranger came through town. Out-of-state plates, questions that cut too close. The next week, somebody keyed 2 words into the side of Daniel's delivery van. Where's Vin? The sheriff said it was probably some kids, a prank. But Daniel, knew better. He bought a gun, changed his locks, and every night he listened to the wind in the trees and wonders if it's footsteps. Witness protection promises you a new life, but what they don't tell you is it also gives you a countdown. Somewhere out there, in the ruins of what is left of the Gallows family, someone is still counting. Counting the years, counting the names, counting down to the moment where they find the man who betrayed them. In the quiet of the Blue Ridge Mountains, Daniel Whitlock, the man who used to be Vincent McCroney, counts too. Not the money anymore, not the bodies, just the days he has left.
Jeez, that was good. That was way more suspenseful than what mine was. We went 2 opposite directions.
I know, and I love that though.
Yeah, it was great. Just so everybody can kind of see the differences in what we did. Do you have like the prompting, or do you know at least some of the prompting that you did?
Yeah.
So I have the prompting for my story. This is what I told ChatGPT to get it to write the story of Buford Buck Honeycutt. I said, I could use your help with some preparation I need for our podcast. As we began the conversation about our identities under witness protection, we thought it would be fun to have you develop our backstories. So, could you create a complete backstory for me? I'd like for my name to be something that would fit in with the people of the Appalachian region of North Carolina. Please include everything I would need for a convincing backstory, like date of birth, where I was born and raised, what I used to do for a living, keeping in mind that I have limited technical skills, a family history, whether or not I have kids, and anything else you can think of. Feel free to make it as humorous as you'd like. And so the story of Buford was what it produced.
So I kind of took it a different way. I said, can you write me a dramatic backstory for a mob informant who goes into witness protection in the hills of North Carolina with name, pre-backstory, and new alibi for his witness protection? So that prompted me. It gave me like his old identity. He's 38 years old. He was a financial strategist for a crime family in New York. And then he moves to North Carolina to be a woodworker. Then I kind of went a little bit deeper. When you type into AI, it gives you like things like, okay, here's your thing. Do you want me to go in this direction or do you want me to go in that direction?
Right.
So it says, do you want me to make this more cinematic, like something out of like Sopranos meet the Ozark? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then so that's
kind of what it did for me as I went through the process too. Is it like the reason why you guys heard our stories the way that you did with music and sound effects and all that kind of stuff is because that's the way that AI laid it out for us.
Right.
It like gave us like a script in a sense.
Yeah. So like so hopefully everything worked out. And like, I think I kind of want to do more of these.
Yeah. I think
like,
it'd be fun.
It's one of those things where like, if you guys can give us like random like
give us the prompts and stuff, and then we'll put it in
and
get the stories written, and then do this more often. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So also
it's a lot more editing for me, but
yeah, it's fine if we do it every once in a while. It'll be okay. What do you mean we don't have an editor?
I thought it was interesting that it also like when I put in the stuff, it was eerie, kind of how close everything was on. So like when I got the original stuff, because it just kind of gave me like the pieces of the backstory right first, and then I had it write it into a script for me to read. Mm-hmm. And the pieces, like, so Buford Buck Honeycutt was his name, but date of birth is October 12th, 1983, which is a year and some days off from my actual birthday in 1982. So his age is 41. I'm 42 years old. His place of birth, which it didn't include in the story, which I wish it would have, was Possum Trot, North Carolina, which doesn't exist, but in here it actually gave like population 317 on a good day, which I thought was hilarious. And then hidden up somewhere near Boone on the top of a ridge is where he's supposed to be living now. But it kind of gave like there's a bunch more things that it didn't include in on the actual story,
right?
That was in all these things, but the fact that it got like the date of birth, town in North Carolina, all that kind of stuff was eerily close to who I really am. So
well, like I guess I didn't realize. I mean, yeah, like it gave me like 38. It didn't give me like an exact birthday, but you know, it said 38. I'm 39, so
it also didn't mention. I don't think it mentioned his dad, Delbert Honeycutt. Yeah, it did. It said he's a part-time preacher and full-time conspiracy theorist.
Yeah,
and prepper.
And doomsday prepper.
Yeah, doomsday prepper.
Dude,
doomsday preppers. Buck was raised on RC Cola, squirrel stew, and reruns of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Can I just pause for a second and say how underrated RC Cola is?
RC Cola is pretty good. I won't lie about that.
Like I don't do like sugar drinks, and like but they make RC Zero.
Yeah,
it tastes just like RC Cola. Like it's the most to the actual flavor of soda.
Right. Well, all it probably is just Coca-Cola with one less ingredient or something in it to make it just off enough where you don't think it's Coke.
Oh yeah, of course.
So Buck, when he was in the K through 12 school building, was voted most likely to call 911 because he locked himself in the basement. Yeah. So it talked about in the story that he was a professional lawn chair re-weber for the Methodists, but he learned that from his Uncle Skeeter. He passed it down to him. His Uncle Skeeter once wove a hammock big enough for 6 goats and a cooler.
6 goats and a cooler.
Yeah, which is
interesting.
I'll leave all those questions in your minds.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look back through mine.
He once learned how to check his email on a flip phone, and is still bragging about it to this day.
But like real talk though, it's kind of
that's a skill.
That is a skill.
Yeah.
Like for those of you who don't know, like flip phones were very limited. Did you ever accidentally hit that internet button?
Oh yeah,
like
many times.
And then you were like freaking out because like it was like
because you had to pay for it and stuff. And
but it was like $100 for like a minute.
Mom and Dad are gonna kill me.
I'm gonna die.
It didn't include in his story that Clementine or Clemmy, his 12-year-old daughter, lives with his wife Tootie, but visits Buck every third weekend except during hunting season. Biscuits, the coonhound, once treated a raccoon so effectively that the raccoon just gave up and started paying rent.
There's
lots of like funny things in this that it didn't include in. He likes to write country songs about heartbreak and meatloaf.
I mean, naturally.
Tries to make friends with crows, which that goes back to some of the stuff we talked about with the tickle crow.
Oh yeah. Well, in like this one, like it went a little bit more into the mob thing. You know, Vinny liked to say every empire needs two things: soldiers and someone who can count. It kind of dives a little bit deeper into that, instead of the script. But
Buck says he doesn't use social media because the Wi-Fi scrambles his feelings.
That's
so many little things.
That's his daddy talking right there.
That's so many little things that it didn't include that are really funny. But yep. So we hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Speaking of North Carolina, since both of our characters are down there and stuff, do you know what the North Carolina state bird is?
I don't. I feel like I should, but I don't.
The mosquito. I'm just. That's what we joke about down there and stuff. I did have this like random thought that came out of another like video that I saw online about mosquitoes and blood types. So you know, how, like we as human beings have different blood types,
right?
Do you think mosquitoes ever just think of us as like different flavors? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Because there's got to be enough of a difference in the blood types for them to be able to maybe differentiate some kind of taste.
It
or
is
something.
weird. I mean, and
also including like how much metal do you have in your blood and all that.
Right, but that also begs the question, like, you know, some people are more prone to mosquito bites than others.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that is a thing. Like, that's the thing, though, too. Like,
I don't even... mosquitoes flying along. He's like, dude, I found O negative over here. And everybody comes flying in. And then guy's like, I love O negative. And then all of a sudden, Ricky comes flying by. And he's just like, y'all ain't never going to believe this. I found an AB positive over on the other side of the field. Everybody's like, oh, we got to go get some of that.
Oh, snap. A delicacy. Yeah, like, I don't even know my own blood type. Like,
I don't either. I probably should learn.
I know. Yeah, well, you know, that would cause one of us to be prepared.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And who wants to buck that trend?
Yeah, well, I've always just kind of thought of it from the perspective of if I ever go to the hospital for something, the doctor's like, "What's your blood's like?" Like, that's a mystery you and I are both going to figure out today, Doc.
It's red.
I have no idea. Yeah, right.
It's red.
It's red, white, and blue because I'm American, Doc. That was just a funny thought that I had the other day when I was watching the video, and they were talking about blood types and stuff like that, and I was like, I wonder if mosquitoes ever look at us and just like,
well, it's like,
oh, that guy's got that good type of blood.
It's like that one thing where I don't know if I was telling you or whatever, like I wouldn't say the conspiracy theory, but like the idea that like vampires actually enjoy garlic.
Right. They're trying to season their food. Yeah.
Oh no, I hate garlic. Please don't eat garlic.
That's very funny. Yeah. No, please no garlic.
Every vampire is actually Italian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They absolutely love garlic.
Like, if you see somebody that's just constantly cooking pasta with no meats, maybe they're a vampire.
Just maybe.
Don't season yourself for them.
Right.
That's funny.
So I was thinking, I don't know how much time we have left, but
we got a pretty good amount.
Okay. So we kind of dipped our toes in the last episode about like conspiracy theories and things like
yeah.
We went through our iceberg and things like that.
Get on the government lists.
Yeah. So I was, after that, like I went down some rabbit holes. So
I haven't done the conspiracy theory rabbit hole yet. I'm scared to because I know that I'm going to become one of those. I'll be obsessed with it even if I don't believe that they're true.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's that I want something else. Like I want something else to like fill the void of what is my brain.
Sure.
And just kind of think about other things that like I know like have no bearing or no weight to them and things like that. And it's like just to see like how off the rails people can be.
Things that entertain your brain, let it go down rabbit trails, but you don't really believe in them in a sense.
But then you always have that thing that was like, maybe. Like I could see where like things are possible. Like, I could see how you.
For sure.
So I was just wondering because before like conspiracy theories like dominate, or the term conspiracy theories have dominated the zeitgeist of modern history.
Yeah.
Everybody's always had like, stories and things like that. So I went into ChatGPT.
Okay.
And I asked, when does a myth cross over into a conspiracy theory? Like a lot of things, like we had talked about, like, with the advent of better cameras, better video quality, things like that. Like you have cryptids that aren't cryptids anymore because they're real life creatures. Yeah.
So, and you think about the fact too of like the whole story of aliens, right? Is that aliens, at least the term for aliens and stuff like that, has been around for forever. Mm-hmm. People have always claimed to have seen extraterrestrials from the sky, kind of deal. But that kind of myth of aliens has now become conspiracy theory because of the advent of the internet, so much information being poured in, people kind of diving deeper down these kind of weird trails of what is and isn't possible, or what's controlling things out there and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, aliens are like a really good example of that idea of something that transitioned from myth into becoming something that's more conspiracy theory.
Right. And that's what kind of ChatGPT answered me and said, a myth crosses over into conspiracy theory when it shifts from being symbolic, cultural, or a folkloric story to a belief that asserts secret, deliberate actions by powerful entities, often to deceive or manipulate others. It gave me a list of it gave me a table of key differences between a myth versus a conspiracy theory. So a myth is more often symbolic or allegorical. Right. A conspiracy theory is just taken as literal truth. A myth explains nature, morality, or human experience. Conspiracy theories explain more real-world events or social or societal contradictions. Myths are passed down through tradition. Conspiracy theories are spread through suspicion or skepticism. Myth doesn't require a secret perpetrator, and then that is what is central to a conspiracy theory. Right, is a group's hidden agenda or things like that.
Yeah, the idea that it crosses over is when you go from something that's more of just like a wives' tale or an oral tradition that's passed down and stuff like that, and then when it crosses into the territory of we now believe that there is a nefarious mind behind these happenings, that's when it crosses over. That's why I say I think that the aliens are the prime example of that, because we went from way back in the day, it was just like, we saw something weird flying in the sky, it's an alien spaceship, that kind of deal, and everybody kind of saw those people and thought, I think about the guy from Independence Day, the dad that he's the one that flies the plane into the mothership at the end type of thing. But that guy early on is one of those ones who's saying I was abducted by aliens, all this stuff, and everybody's like, oh, okay, crazy guy.
Okie dokie.
And then all of a sudden the aliens show up and everybody's like,
see, I told y'all.
So yeah. They're like, so you were drinking because you had PTSD from being abducted by aliens, right? So
old cousin Eddie.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that same mentality to a degree, is that for the longest time, anybody that brought up aliens, everybody else just kind of went, okay, dude, whatever. Right. And now it's become this thing that because of Area 51, because of the government and the way that they word things intentionally, I believe, where they kind of go like, well, yeah, we've seen these, they don't call them UFOs anymore. What do they call it? UAP.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Right. And so it's like, we've seen these UAPs. We do or don't believe that they're alien related, right? So it's all these kinds of things. But that stirs in the minds of people, right? Is now it become conspiracy theorists.
Well, and a lot of it too, there are people that study UFOs, which, do you know what they're called?
UFologists?
Well, or ufologists.
Ufologists, yeah.
Oof. So, but if you, and it's one of those things where, and I don't like how this makes me sound, but the government, doesn't need to tell you everything. I'm sorry.
I think the government needs to tell you as little as possible about your
because life. it promotes national security risks.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the timelines of Area 51 when it became popular, and then you look at the generations of aircraft that are coming out after the fact, those would have been in the testing phases.
Right.
Now, of course, people can, you can alter documents, you can change dates, but the majority of the UFOs or UAPs that people used to see were experimental aircraft.
Right.
Like the B-2 bomber is the biggest proponent. Like this.
Well, and you think about the early iterations of the Harrier, because it probably didn't look like what the Harrier looks like, the one that's been in operation for years now. But you think about an airplane that was capable of going out and hovering somewhere.
Right.
Now all of a sudden people are like, well, airplanes don't do that.
Right.
And so that's got to be some kind of, alien craft.
Or like, oh, we reversed the technology and things like that. It's like, no, we were developing the technology and it's going to be used in a military purpose first. Like that's
every time.
Yeah, every single time.
Vast majority of the stuff that we have technology-wise, like at our disposal now, is only available to the average person because at some point in time, a military across the world
developed it,
brought it out and used it for some purpose of their own.
And it's one of those things where it's like I hate that it puts me into a camp of the government doesn't need to tell you everything, and like a lot of the stuff can be explained logically, like I said, experimental aircraft, testing things, and the government is not a good entity as a whole because of people.
We could probably just leave it at the government is not a good anyway.
And it's one of those things like, I mean,
I'm not a full-blown anarchist, just to be clear to everybody. I don't believe that we should not have government, but I think the government
has its place, and
the government overreaches in so many different places that they shouldn't be involved in.
But, it's one of those things where with myths and conspiracy theories, you're taking things and you're stretching them to fit your narrative. It's like anything that you want to find something that proves your point. Just word it the correct way when you Google search it. You can find 1,000 articles against what your point is.
Yep.
But as soon as you find one, you're like, see, it does exist.
Right.
So
and that's like, as a pastor, I exist inside the world of that. I'm constantly in conversations with people about the existence of God, and for the people that are out there that for whatever reason, maybe they had a bad church experience, and maybe they had some kind of major incident in their life where they lost somebody they loved, somebody got sick, whatever it may be. These big things happen and stuff, and so people look for reasons to then say, well, there can't be a God because God can't allow this or doesn't allow these types of things. And they make up their own narrative of this is the box that God has to fit in.
Right.
And then if you take that idea and then go online, well, there's been people for thousands of years now that have been trying to disprove the existence of God. And so therefore there's tons and tons and tons of information floating out there on the internet that if you really take that idea and run with it, you can find support for whatever you want out there.
Right.
But what we have to boil it down to is like, okay, well, let's get all the way back to the basics of things and see, like, in that case, ask the questions of, well, what does the Bible actually say about who God is and how he operates? And without any extra stuff, right? Like, sorry if you're a Catholic out there, but don't throw in all the extra books that the Catholics added on hundreds of years later.
Right.
Don't do any of this like additional stuff. Let's look at what the Word of God says and look at what the world around you reveals about God and make a decision based off of that. But the same thing happens with the government. Like you're saying, you shouldn't be listening to the government for your information on so many things.
No.
Why? Because the government has an agenda.
Right.
They have their own mindset that they're trying to promote amongst people and own things that they're trying to accomplish. And if the way that you think doesn't fit into their thing, they're going to try to manipulate you into thinking the way that they think.
Right.
So they can get you on their side in that sense.
As somebody who loves history, studied history, the foresight that the founding fathers had is scary because they knew that the United States would turn into what it is now.
Oh yeah.
And they warned everybody against it. Like,
well, and you got to think too, like that's a simple just paying attention to history thing.
Right.
Because every great civilization that's ever existed on the face of the planet has turned into what the United States has turned into now.
Right.
And so it's like you look at the rise and fall of Rome, you look at the rise and fall of Persia, you look at so many of these great societies that have existed over time, and they follow the same patterns.
Right.
I mean, there's a basic reasoning behind why they begin and why things look the way that they do, but then the government gets involved.
Right.
And when the government gets involved on deeper and deeper and deeper levels over time, things usually go awry.
Right. It's more so because I think the government gains more control because the people get lazier.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, and that's a part of it is like the way that you accomplish that as the government is government programming.
I don't want to have to take care of this anymore. Let the government do it.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's the prime example of that's not my job.
So yeah, that's exactly right. And that's one of the big things that like I'm always a big proponent for is if you want things to get better where you're at, whether it's somewhere here in the United States or around the world, whatever it may be, if you want things to get better where you're at, make things better right in your own backyard.
Right.
Like you do the work, put in the time. If you actually like make things better, there's usually not a whole lot that the government's going to have to say about it because that makes things better for their citizens.
Right.
But on the flip side of it is going to be that like the government, if they get involved and you're trusting in them to have to run the systems to make things better, it's usually going to get worse over time.
Oh yeah, and you are. Even though you are against conforming to what the government is, you are conforming to what the government is because you're allowing them to dictate.
Right.
And it's just as simple as be the change that you want to see.
Absolutely. Big proponent for that.
Like it's one of those things where it's like it all starts with you, and it doesn't have to be big grandioso things.
Yeah.
Just something small. Like
make it simple. Love the people around you.
Yeah.
If everybody would just simply look at the people around them every single day and go, how can I love and serve these people better?
Right.
The whole world would exponentially get better right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Like I was thinking about this on the way here. Every time I come here to record, I pass a billboard that says, be careful who you hate because it could be somebody that you love. You shouldn't hate anybody.
Yeah, right.
Like you
it's a simple solution for that, right?
People aren't going to be the same as you, and that's what makes life interesting.
Right. I've been preaching on it lately is that Jesus boiled everything down to love God and love people. It's pretty simple. Like if you develop a relationship with Jesus, obviously I think that's a great way to go. If you haven't started that yet, then I'm not judging you or anything. I'm just saying we should talk sometime because I'd love to explain that for you. But but beyond that is Jesus, who most people, even if you don't trust in him as your savior, most people still see Jesus as like this, really good person who is a good teacher and all that kind of stuff. And so, if nothing else, just listen to his words of saying you should love your neighbor as yourself. Right. That's the way that everything gets better and moves forward.
But what about Dave? Yes, even Dave.
Yes, even Dave, right? Like even that guy at work that annoys the heck out of you, even the neighbor that is loud and obnoxious at nighttime.
Right.
Like no matter who the person is, extending a little bit of grace, understanding that maybe I don't know everything about this person and what they're going through in life. And so maybe there's some good reasonings why they are the way that they are, and then looking at them and saying, okay, so how can I love them despite the things that I don't like about them? And that's like one of the things I've been trying to teach my kid over the past like several years is like most of the time when somebody's mean to you, like when they're doing stuff, like if they're constantly bullying you or constantly mean to you, I would argue that 9.9 times out of 10 that those individuals have something that's happening to them or has happened to them in their life that is causing them to be the person that they're being to you. And I don't know what that is. I can't get to the root of every single person like that. But, I told my kid, I'm like, look, if some kid's being mean to you, try to observe things and figure out, well, maybe they have a bully that's being mean to them, and the only way they let their frustration out is to bully somebody else.
Right, because it's the one thing in their life that they can control.
Right. Maybe their parents are mean to them. Maybe they have a really crappy home life. I don't know what their circumstances are.
Right.
But I can tell you that if you are kind to them, that the best case scenario is they're going to see your kindness and they're going to change and they'll begin to love you because of your kindness. The worst case scenario is, as the Bible says, you begin to heap hot coals on their head. So you're like, it's to kill them with kindness kind of thing, right? Like they can be as mean as they want to be, but you're going to be as nice as you can be, and it's just going to make them more furious because they're like, I'm being mean to you. Why aren't you yelling at me and stuff?
And a lot of times, like with bullying, a lot of people will find their own flaws in other people.
Oh, 100%.
And they will take their inner frustrations out on other people.
Absolutely.
And then you can respond to it, like you're saying, through kindness and things like that, and just showing them, like, the best way I've ever found to combat bullying and things like that is just to simply ignore people until they are to the point of such frustration that they just leave you alone, or be like, then it starts a conversation. It's like, I'm being so mean to you. Why do you not care?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, but then, you have our friendship, which is a heavy amount of bullying.
Yeah.
If you would like be a bystander when we're just like talking to each other, you would think that we hate each other.
Yeah, you're like, why are these guys so mean to one another? Well, I think too that's a thing about a certain kind of friendship is when you get to that level with somebody that you understand each other well enough to know.
Right.
We're not being mean to each other, and maybe even like that's kind of our outlet for like, because I know a lot of times for you and I, it is we say to each other the things that we can't say to anybody else.
Right. Oh, of course.
And so it's our way of letting that kind of like sarcasm and kind of feelings in a sense flow without hurting somebody because we understand.
Yeah. Like,
he doesn't mean that. Like,
right.
That's not true.
Like our humor is a specific kind of humor that not a lot of people would understand, and people would be concerned with our humor if we let it out to the wrong person. So it's just one of those things where it's like it's good to have those people that you playfully bully, but to the point where it keeps you sane. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, especially for Josh and I, that we're a huge sounding board for one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you see the memes of, like, oh, no, the group chat got leaked and things like that.
Yeah.
Like burning everything. It's like, well, we're going to jail. It's fine.
Destroy all the files. Destroy all the files. It's funny, too, that we're talking about, like, that idea of, like, how we treat each other and not letting that, like, you know, sarcasm and kind of more angrier side of who we are in our comedy and stuff out all the time. So last weekend we were at my wife Brooke's 20th high school reunion.
Right.
So this is the first time that I'm like, so she has 3 best friends from high school that she's still in like close contact with and everything. 2 of them I met at our wedding.
Okay.
And have talked to, like, you know, just in happenstance over the years. And I've talked a little bit to the 3rd friend, but I'd never met her in person. So this is my first time meeting her. And then I also met, like, 2 of them are married, and so I met their husbands and everything. And so, you know, we meet, we're all staying in an Airbnb together and stuff for this weekend while they're doing all their high school reunion stuff. And so the husbands are just kind of chilling because we're not heavily involved in all this.
Yeah.
One of us, Eric, knew the most people of the class out of the 3 of us. You know, Corey and I we're lost.
Yeah.
And so we're just there hanging out. We're like, whatever they tell us to do, we'll do. Anyways, you know, me and my joking, like, picking self because of my background and my sense of humor and everything, I started picking here and there at everybody from the group and stuff like that. But Jessie, one of the girls in particular, she's like, why do you pick on me and stuff like that? And she said, she didn't say mean, but she made some comment about it. And I laughed and I was like, you're getting 10% Josh. I'm like,
I have you fool. I have yet to become my final form.
I was like, very few people in this world right now know what it's like for me to ramp it up to 100. Because I'm like, if I unleashed full bore, like the things that I think and stuff like that, I said, you know, it would just devastate people and they'd be crying and everything. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to anybody. And I said, the 10% is the sarcastic humor side of Josh. The other 90% is the stuff that, like, really gets me in trouble in life.
Right.
And so I was like just laughing because she was like, she didn't directly say like, oh, you're really mean, but she was just kind of like hinting towards that. And I'm like, oh, it's like, you have no idea. Like I'd make everybody here cry.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was funny, like kind of tie into that conversation that we were having. But well, we really hope that you guys enjoyed our backstories that we got to read today. We had a blast putting those things together.
Yeah, it was, and like I said before, I love that we took them in 2 opposite directions.
Yes,
and I think it also like lends to our inner personalities too.
Oh, for sure.
Like, because I like the more suspenseful horror aspect of things. You like the light comedy things.
Well, it's very much in line with like a lot of what we've seen with our D&D characters and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like mine's always dark and brooding.
Yeah, he's always dark and broody. My guy's usually a little bit more like boisterous or funny in different ways and stuff. And so, yeah, it's kind of fitting that our backstories would fit into those categories as well.
Except for Sen. Sen was kind of a one-off with my the Warforged.
Yeah.
That talked like this and made everybody want
we were so
to
furious.
Hurt them.
Yeah. We were so furious. When Josh started that character, he would talk just like that every time his character had to speak, and we were like, we literally were never going to get through any sessions if you continue to do this. So he had to start speaking at a more like normal pace, but
yeah,
it was very, very funny. When you started, and I just sat back and was like, this. He's either gonna like torture us with this being like the greatest meme in D&D of all time, or we're gonna have to like kill him or something. I don't know.
Like the only time anybody's allowed PvP for anything.
Yeah. I was about to say that'd have been really funny if I think Noah was DMing at that point.
He hated it.
Yeah, if Noah would have just been like, "All right, boys, get him."
But it was like I wish I would have been able to flesh out his story a lot more, because he was an Odin's witness, because I was playing a cleric, so Odin was his patron, and I was going to play him like a Jehovah's Witness, but for Odin. Yeah. And that's why I called him an Odin's witness.
That's funny. Odin's witness. That's great. Yeah, as we get ready to wrap up, we hope that you guys enjoyed the backstories. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation today. Like we said in this last little part, love people.
Yeah, like Andrew said a few episodes. Just be better.
He said, just love each other.
Yeah,
right?
just love each other.
Just love each other.
Yeah,
that's what we want to encourage you to do as we get ready to wrap today. And we're so thankful you guys come along with this on this ride with us every single 100%. Week. This is episode, I think, 33 or something like that. Yeah, 33 for us, so which is crazy. We've made it this far, but it's all been because of you guys interacting, you guys listening. We actually, I hadn't even told you this yet, but episode 29, I think it was actually one of our most listened to episodes that we've had in a long while and stuff. And so that was the Inflato plane, talking about Michael Rockefeller and his disappearance, some shower thoughts, those kinds of things. Again, we just want to reiterate how much we appreciate you guys listening, what you guys mean to us, and we hope that you'll continue to interact with social media and all those good things. Next week we'll have comments coming out.
Comments and some other fun stuff in that episode.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that one. Otherwise, what do we want everybody to do? We'll do it super brief this time.
Go ahead, and I will do it even more brief. Check out our link tree. We have a link tree. It has all of our socials. Do the things. Smash the buttons. Like and follow us on everything, because you can like and not follow, and follow and not like, and those two things aren't one and the same. So we want you guys to have an amazing week. Thank you for spending your Monday with us, or whenever you listen to this podcast.
Yes, indeed. We love you guys very much.
Every one of you. So we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Fell apart on the love you, bye part.
Yeah, we did. I almost was going to do a bit.
33 episodes in. Yeah. Can't get our closer down.